Okay, so before we begin the top 10 list, I would like to address something. You guys probably noticed that I didn't include PSG. Well, due to the fact that there's been a situation brewing between PSG and Kylian Mbappe, if it was a reason why I want to see how this goes, so as a precaution, I left them out. But also at the same time, had this not happened, PSG probably would be where Monaco is. Monaco would have been where Bordeaux was, and Bordeaux would have been left as one of the many honorable mentions. So if anyone's wondering where PSG was, yeah, and plus the only reason why I'm not doing that the Premier League is a separate list, let's be real, if I combined it, half the list would have been from the Premier League. Anyway, here we go. Here are my top 10 stadiums I would like to visit in the English Premier League. Okay, at number 10, this one was destined to be at number 10, not for the reasons why. It's because we don't know what the atmosphere is like going to be at this stadium, because this stadium is brand new and it's on the docks of Liverpool Harbor. It is the yet to be named stadium for Everton. For one, I really like the decor of the stadium. And plus, honestly, it's going to be really interesting to see how does Everton decide to do to honor what's left of Goodison Park once they start the demolition process. Sucks I never got a chance to go, thank you COVID. But honestly, I'm just glad I got to see it on TV and YouTube, and I got to play in it in the games, in the FIFA games. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this new stadium's going to be. So yeah, number 10, Everton Stadium, mainly due to the fact we don't know what the atmosphere is going to be like in that new stadium. Number 9, we're heading to the south of London and at number 9, and for those of you who don't know, today's June 28th, meaning if you got the special edition of this game, you get to play it a day before everyone on the standard version gets it. I'm talking about AEW Fight Forever. And at number 9, it's the Premier League team that the Khan family owns, Craven Cottage, the home of Fulham FC. I mean, I like the old school terraces and the old school design of Craven Cottage. It's just interesting to see. However, I'm concerned about the clappers. But in all seriousness, that does seem like a really great atmosphere, especially if a big team like Man United, and do I even have to mention that derby with Chelsea? Enough said. So number 9, Fulham. At number 8, this one might be a little bit of a surprise for some people, for it being so low on the list. Yeah, at number 9, I actually have the London Stadium, the home of West Ham United. Now, let's get this out of the way. Yes, that stadium was not built for football/soccer. And I never got to see the bowling ground, which is really sad. In fact, there's some references in the area of that stadium. Unfortunately, that's being torn down for affordable housing, apparently. But that being said, the fans of West Ham figured out to make that stadium turning into a football stadium really quick. And now that they're playing in the Europa League for the second time in 3 years, that shows that this West Ham team could be on the rise. And at number 7, we have Stamford Bridge, the home of Chelsea. Again, very old-fashioned ground. In fact, there's been speculation that it's going to be under renovation again. And when it does, hopefully we get to see more modern amenities thrown in. And plus, it'll be a nice way to settle in into the London scene in Chelsea. Although, to be fair, it's actually in Kensington, to be fair. So, yeah, Chelsea at number 7. And at number 6, we're heading up to North London for Arsenal at the Emirates. I mean, it looks really nice. I mean, I never got a chance to see Highbury, the original home for Arsenal. And it's owned by Stan Kroenke, the guy who owns the Los Angeles Rams, the Colorado Avalanche, the Colorado Mammoth, the Colorado Rapids, and the NBA champion Denver Nuggets. That hurts me to say as a Lakers fan, but hey, we exceeded expectations, and the Nuggets were the best team in the league. So yeah, at number 6, we have the Emirates for Arsenal. Okay, number 5, halfway through. And at number 5, we have the American Express Stadium, the home of Brighton and Hove Albion. Okay, raise your hands if you actually thought Brighton was gonna make it to the Europa League. I mean, and honestly, the fact that this meteoric rise like this for Brighton and Hove Albion, what they done, despite the fact they got screwed out of their coast by Chelsea, and they somehow made it to Europa League, that is incredible. And while we're on the subject, Brighton's not the only team on this list. I'm just gonna cheat that, kind of like what I did with the AC Milan in the last video. I'm gonna throw in Newcastle United in here as well. I mean, who thought they were gonna make Champions League in their first full year under Saudi ownership? I did not see that coming at all. So yeah, at number 5, Brighton and Hove Albion and Newcastle United. And that's not the only double we're going to see on this list. In fact, at number 4, yes, and at number 4, it's another double, and I think we all know where this was going to go. It's the Manchester double of Man City and Manchester United. Considering how close the stadiums are, I mean, of course, you have Old Trafford for Manchester United, and we have the Etihad for Man City. And it'll be a nice little weekend to spend at the weekend, where one day you'll be at the blue end of Manchester, and the next day you'll be at the red side. So it's nice to get a chance to compare and contrast between the cities, between the clubs, and I get a chance to experience the culture. And considering Manchester just pulled the treble, and with Manchester United being on the rise after years of mediocrity, so it could and if the rumors of a Qatar ownership change is true, Manchester City might be terrified, might be getting a little nervous, although not really. They might have that make the Manchester Derby that much more interesting to watch. So yeah, number 4, Man City and Man United. Number 3, and this is the only newly promoted team that made the list. And honestly, this might seem a little controversial. At number 3, I actually have Luton Town, Kenilworth Road. I mean, considering it's next to an airport, I don't know if is it Heathrow or Gatwick that is close by. I mean, the story of this team playing non-league football 9 years ago to Premier League, and the fact that one of the players made it did something no one has done, making it from the National League all the way to the Prem. That is remarkable for the Hatters of Luton Town. And then we get to Kenilworth Road, a truly iconic stadium for all the wrong reasons. Okay, not really. I mean, it's a nice little stadium. 10,000 seats. It's the away end that makes this stadium iconic. For those of you who didn't see my predictions video, to enter the away end at Luton Town, I am not joking, you must walk through someone's home. Now calm down, it's not like that. And then, if that's not crazy enough, after you go through the turnstiles, you go up the stairs, and what do you see? People's back gardens. Yeah. Now you know why I wanted to go to Kenilworth Road. An iconic stadium for a team that is on the rise. And at number 2, if it wasn't for a certain team in Brentford, this would have been still the newest stadium in the Prem until Everton came along. That, of course, is Hotspur Stadium, the home of Tottenham Hotspur. Now, again, I could have done a situation with Harry Kane, but right now we don't know what's going to happen. But the bottom line, despite how much Tottenham has fell off lately, what else can I even have to say about Tottenham Stadium? I mean, the architecture is amazing. The seating bowl arrangement is unique for English football standards, for now. And plus, considering the atmosphere for a derby, not just with the big clubs like, say, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, but also that big derby with Arsenal. Which, if I have to go to a game at Tottenham Stadium, that match against Arsenal would be it. So yeah, at number 2, Tottenham Stadium, the home of Tottenham Hotspur. Okay, what's number 1? And at number 1, I think this goes without saying. Oh, by the way, first off, we got a couple honorable mentions. The big honorable mention, Nottingham Forest. I mean, considering this team won the Champions League or the Europe Cup before it became the Champions League twice in the 70s, I had a really hard time. But if it wasn't for Luton Town getting promoted, Nottingham would have been on the list for sure. But I still want to go though, considering how considering the history of the club and everything. So yeah, Nottingham Forest would have made the list had Coventry won the championship playoff final. Another honorable mention would be Crystal Palace. I mean, I really wanted to put Crystal Palace on here, but yeah, there probably was another reason why. I really wanted to put Crystal Palace, but I had a really hard time placing it. You can make, again, the same argument for Brentford and Villa, but yeah, Crystal Palace was definitely an honorable mention for sure. And at number 1, it is the club that took Everton's spot at Anfield. Yeah, that's a nice trivia question. This club was not the original tenant of Anfield. That was Everton, and I pretty much just gave it away. What number 1 is? The football club that taught us you will never walk alone. It's Liverpool, the Anfield. I mean, what else can I say that hasn't been said? You never walk alone. where you hear 50,000 people singing You'll Never Walk Alone. And for people I know that actually went there, you could get chills when you hear them play You'll Never Walk Alone. And considering Liverpool's making some serious moves, including signing Henderson, signing one of the Brighton players away, they're going to try and make a serious push for the Champions League again. And plus, it'll make a fantastic Europe away day. And I'm pretty sure Liverpool is going to be one of the heavy favorites to win the Europa League. So it's going to be Anfield, considering the history of Liverpool and Everton, that derby, which makes me very thankful Everton survived. Sorry, Leicester. So, yeah. At number 1, it's Anfield at Liverpool. Next up, we're going to talk the top 10 team stadiums I would like to visit in the lower divisions. That's coming up next, guys. See you next time.